Welcome to the Warband, a World of Warcraft podcast. My name is Swaglock, and with me today, as always, my favorite, my best friend, the man I love more than anyone else in this world, who I could just give a big hug to right now, Chicken.
Oh, I actually wanted to do the intro this week. So can we just cut this and redo the intro?
You want to do it? You want to do it?
Okay,
No.
ready?
Yeah. I already cut it.
Okay.
It's already edited.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Fellow Podcast, a fellowship podcast about the hottest MMO craze. Actually, it's not an MMO, an RPG craze in the universe coming to the Steam store near you. This is the first of many podcasts, and we have the #1 rated tank with us today, over 2,000 hours played. Yeah, you didn't think that was possible, but it is. I just checked. The one and only himself, Dungeon Master Swaglock. How are you doing, buddy?
Dude, I'm a healer now. Remember, I retired this season.
Oh,
yeah,
not in Fellowship. You play tank.
Speaking of tanks, dude, I hear tanks are a no-go when it comes to arenas. And with us today, we actually have a special guest, someone that we're super excited about having on the podcast. I've been watching this guy on TikTok probably, I think, like 2 years now. I've been watching him on TikTok, and the content he makes is fantastic. You should definitely check it out. Lots of news about WoW, but also like meme content and like funny videos as well. It's great. But he also streams on Twitch. We have ErradicGaming. Dude, Erradic, how are you doing?
Dude, I'm doing good. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate you reaching out. As I said, I'm mostly a WoW PvPer, but this season's been kind of crazy. I've been getting into everything, and yeah, I make some TikTok content. I used to try to post every day, so it would be informational or funny or whatever. But now I just kind of post when I have an idea, which could be a couple days or even weeks at a time where I don't post.
Dude, I get that. I think I need to stop doom scrolling myself and just actually make content. It's too hard not to, especially with all the AI stuff, bro. I've gotten into AI chiropractors. Those are funny.
Those are great.
Right?
What?
The AI like animals that come up to the door and just like spray old men with fire hoses.
I know what you're talking about.
Those are good ones.
I'm getting AI fatigue, dude. Like I enjoyed them at first, but like, man, it's getting tiring. I think AI is for sure a good tool.
Yeah.
But man, we're kind of overboard with it at this point, and it's scary to think of like we're just at the start. Where is this going to go?
And the hard thing too in that conversation is like because naturally most people aren't creating new fresh ideas. Most people are seeing what someone else has done and then like replicating that joke, right? And so
yeah.
I can reference something, and you guys might not have even seen the same videos I'm seeing, but everyone's making the same videos. I mean, making loosely, obviously. We're talking about AI here, right? So we're talking about like, oh, dude, all the AI chiropractors. Yeah, why are there 47 videos of AI chiropractors out there, right? It just seems like a really specific thing. Fair. I've been getting a lot of AI Randy Savage, but we're a little off topic. All I'm saying is I'm ready for the like heavy AI like Warcraft meme content at some point. I'm sure there's something. I just it hasn't hit my feed
I've already
yet.
seen some, yeah.
Oh no. Dude, we put an AI song at the end of the podcast last week because I had some credits for a project I did. And I felt really bad because some people were like, dude, that's an awesome song. Like, I didn't know like you could sing like that. I'm like, no, it's AI. I thought I had like said it, but it's easy to like miss an off comment. And I felt so bad. I was like, no, I promise I'm not trying to pass off AI as my own work. I just thought it was funny.
Voice of an angel.
Yeah. But anyways, Erratic, you were saying that you have kind of just recently this season been trying out other content outside of PvP. I'm sure it's stuff you've done before, but just kind of getting more into now. So most we use PvP, and we'll talk about that soon. But what else has like this season looked like for you?
Yeah, so you kind of hit on it before. I mostly PvP'd, and that's been a thing since like Shadowlands. But I don't remember why I really got into it at the start of this season, but or not the season, even expansion. But I wanted to get AOTC. I actually had a friend group who was starting a guild. And wanted to get AOTC, and I was like hype. Like, I get to play with all of these friends that I've had, for multiple years now. It's gonna be hype. And we got like 2 3 weeks into the season, and the guild just completely died.
No, dude. That,
wow.
that's the tale as old as time.
Yep.
That's
and
crazy.
my mind had already been set. Like, I want to get AOTC. I'm very, very, very goal driven when it comes to WoW.
Yeah.
And so, like, I need to be doing something. So I went into LFG and joined this group, and I've been with the group I joined ever since. Underground Infamy, shout out. I don't even know what their server they're on, because they allow you to be cross server now.
That's true.
But yeah, so I've been doing AOTC with them every season, doing a little bit of Mythic Plus. And they, I think the season 2, they kind of asked me if I wanted a Mythic raid, and I was like, nah, that's kind of too much of a time commitment. I enjoy PvPing too much. Not gonna do it. And then near the end of season 2, they asked me again, and like, I'm not a huge collector, but are you guys familiar with what the Mythic mount looks like this season?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the coolest mounts ever put in WoW, gladiator mounts. Like, that's the reason I got into PvPing so hard, is because I wanted some gladiator mounts. And like, this mount kind of tops any gladiator mount almost ever in the game. So I was like, you know what? Let me talk to my wife, see if she's okay with me putting in, minimum 6 hours a week just for raiding at these specific times. And she said yes. So I decided I'm going to mythic raid this expansion.
Dude, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of keystones to keep up, make sure I get in my full vaults. I'm almost 3,200, I think.
Because you guys are on Soul Hunters now, right? Sorry, I looked it up, because when you said you didn't know the servers, Destro math, by the way. I'm a nerd who's just like, oh, let me find that info.
Yeah.
But dude, Soul Hunters is impressive, by the way, because we've complained on podcasts that our guild every season gets AOTC and then tries to start Mythic, and then no one shows up. So dude, 6 bosses in is awesome.
Yeah, we haven't gotten Soul Hunters down yet, but we've progged them for the first time this week. I think we did a very little bit last week, but we're like down to 30% on our first night of like real prog, and I think it'll probably die this upcoming week. It's been kind of weird, because like, I'm like really iffy. Like, are we going to be able to get cutting edge as a first time, for real Mythic? And I'm not really interested in spending all this time in raiding if we don't get it and I don't get the mount. That's kind of selfish sounding, but it's just a fact.
Dude, the nice thing though too is with Turbo Boost, you're now having access, correct, to all this loot, like especially like Lumathar, right, dude? I would love to have access to that trinket.
Yeah, and like the one trinket I actually really want is off of, which I've already gotten the Mythic Antenna from the first week of Dinars, but there's one off of Soul Hunters as well. So if we can get that down, and I can get that trinket and also the boots, like it'll set me up, great for raid, but also those boots in PvP. Like, I know you guys aren't super familiar with the PvP scene, but everybody in AWC, the Arena World Championship, that was running the Soul Hunters boots, because they proc your cloak more often, and even though it's nerfed in PvP, it's definitely still an upgrade, especially because they're statted correctly. So it would be hyped to have those for my PvP journey as well.
Dude, that's
but all
awesome.
that to say, I've been doing everything. I did the delves. I did Kaivez on question mark difficulty in the first 2 weeks. I actually think delves are awesome. I've been doing a lot of keystones. I've been doing mythic raiding, and we're going to start focusing a little bit more now on the gladiator grind.
Yo, that's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, dude, I'm still rocking, I think, like the boots from normal Soul Hunters. I haven't raided the last few weeks with Legion and everything else. It's just kind of our guild just not progging, which is fine. We got AOTC already, and then they kind of just, I don't know, they get AOTC and they back out, that's just what they do. It's fine. But I'm still like rocking the boots from normal. I'm like, can I at least get heroic, please? Anybody want to carry me in mythic? I just want boots.
Oh my gosh, this guy.
Well, I'll pay somebody like $5. Come carry me through. Oh wait, that's a real money transaction. I'll pay somebody, I don't know, like 50 gold.
A WoW token.
A WoW token. Yeah. I'll give them a WoW token. Come give me those boots.
Yeah, I had a thought and it just completely slipped.
I know.
Never mind.
You're all good. So I want to ask a couple questions. We're probably not gonna spend the whole episode talking about PvP, but I do think a lot of our listeners, right, I think have questions about PvP, because there's so many different ways to play WoW. So many different game modes. Chicken and I do a lot of M+. That's kind of like our meat and potatoes for us in content. And even still, like talking about M+, the number of listeners we talk to who don't do any M+, right, at all, and have like been terrified to even try it, right? Like, I just don't know if I can step into it. I do heroic dungeons. I'm happy with that. But they love being able to hear what would it take, right? Like, if you wanted to start M0, like, what does that look like? And so one of the reasons why I'm excited to have you on today is because I think PvP is one of those areas of the game that people see and it looks really intimidating and looks confusing and complicated, especially because the gearing system is so different than everywhere else, or at least to me it feels different. That people are kind of like nervous to even try it, right? And because they're nervous, from what I hear, PvP, you know, is not as popular as it probably should be. And so I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit for the sake of our listeners, and honestly even myself, because I've been doing some arenas the last couple months. So I want to pick your brain of just like, what does it look like to kind of get started? So what ultimately got you? You said it was like the gladiator mounts that got you into PvP. What did like your journey with PvP kind of look like as you got started?
Yeah. So again, I don't think I would be considered a collectionist, but what got me into PvP, I've always done a little bit of arenas, probably very similar to how you treat it right now.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
back
just doing
as far as I
solo
can
queue.
remember, like Cataclysm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was never serious about it until Shadowlands Season 1. The elite set for plate wearers was just one of the most amazing sets I've ever seen, and I knew I needed it. So yeah, I started grinding out twos. I met one of my really good friends now, who I went to his wedding after I met him in Shadowlands, and he lives, you know, in a different state from me. And until I got the elite set, and then I really just kind of realize that that's the main content I enjoy. Like, it's fun to learn and get better and push for goals. So throughout Shadowlands, I was kind of like a 1800 to 2100 duelist, I think, my second season, and then we just worked on duelist. I started getting into threes a little bit more, going into Dragonflight, because I was like, dude, I want these gladiator mounts. Those are some of the coolest gladiator mounts that have been in the game ever. And we struggled really hard. We played so much threes in Dragonflight and never reached our goals. But it was a good time learning and getting better. And, you know, it was just part of the stepping stone. So I didn't get any of those mounts. I did finally end up getting to where I could get Gladiator the first 2 seasons of this expansion. Unfortunately, some of the worst Gladiator mounts ever put in the game.
Oh, no.
But this season's Gladiator mount is actually pretty sick, so I'm excited to get that. And you know, you kind of heard where I'm at on PvE as well. If you want me to talk about how to get into PvP, I can do that as well, though.
Yeah, no, I just love hearing the story, because I think there are people who I'm the same way, by the way. I got into arenas a little bit this season. One, because I wanted something that I could just queue into real quick and do. That was like a lower time commitment, right? It's a little bit easier to pop into an arena match and do that than to, like, especially a solo queue one, then to go and like form a whole group for dungeons and then have my half an hour set aside after the 15 minutes it takes to form the group. And this was, at least, I think I was in the moment where, like, I just didn't have chunkier bits of time to sit down and play. And so, but ultimately I saw the shaman set for PvP, like I don't know, I don't even know the names of them, but you have like the 2 sets, right, for PvP, and like the whatever, like the first one was, not the better one. But I just love the coloration. I was like, dang, that's the set I want this season. And so I kind of started doing solo queue. Is that the right move? It felt like the easiest option for me to choose. If somebody wanted to get into PvP to start, just to get their feet wet and taste it, is it arenas? Is it battlegrounds? What is the best way to do that?
Yeah, so if you're like just purely a PvE person and you want to get into just PvP in general, I would say I don't know if it's in the game yet or not. I think maybe it's coming in 11.2.7, but they're basically going to put the special PvP mode. I forgot what those are called, the brawls. Yeah. But they're basically going to have a battleground mode where you're facing AI the entire time, and those are going to be insanely easy to win.
Like basically like the old comp stomp, correct?
Yeah, comp stomp, exactly. Yeah, that's what it is. It's called something different, but it's going to be the same thing. There's going to be 3 or 4 battlegrounds. You get to face, AI enemies, and they're probably going to be trash, but it will let you learn your class in that environment, and that's where I would suggest, getting your initial gear, your honor gear, that kind of stuff. From there, you're right. Solo shuffle is a great. Easy to get into in terms of you just press Q and you'll eventually get placed in it. With PvP, though, you're going to have to be prepared to... I don't know if I can say the word stink. Yeah. For
no, you're good.
Stink.
We're a little PG, but not that PG.
I compare a lot of PvP. I do jujitsu IRL.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same.
So
thing.
You do IRL PvP is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. You're gonna have to be prepared to just be beat up for days, weeks, months, probably, even years. Like I still get just absolutely demolished by people who are higher rated than me, and that's just part of any competitive game. I do think having a goal of what you want to achieve from PvP is the best place to start, and something easier. Kind of like you said, either just getting the conquest set. I think Elite is actually a very good or not Elite, sorry. It's 1800. I forgot what it's called. I think it's called Rival. Maybe.
I have it open right now. I'll find out.
But that's where you get your Elite set, which is the different coloration of your set. And I think that's a very good motivator, and it's a very obtainable goal.
Yeah.
Solo Shuffle is a way to get it. PvP queue times suck again. So if you're a DPS wanting to get into Solo Shuffle, which is the solo queue mode of arenas, you're going to be waiting a long time. But I did a lot of that this season while I was farming PvE achievements and stuff like that.
I'm a healer, so maybe that's why to me it felt like a good option, because I wasn't finding myself waiting super long.
Well, yeah, so they released Solo Shuffle and Dragonflight, and I switched from being a DPS main to a healer so that I could get those instant queues, because I just enjoyed queuing arenas and, wanted the goals or whatever. But yeah, Solo Shuffle, they also have Solo Battlegrounds now, which trivialize basically the rating that you need. You can be, one of the worst players in the world and still gain rating in this mode. I'm
doing the wrong. You're saying I'm doing the wrong mode. Like if I want this armor, I need to switch to battlegrounds, because I'm like, dude, I'm stuck in the 1500s, which is probably super low to you, but that's where I'm kind of. I find myself going up and then going down.
Yeah.
I felt bad because I was doing arena the other day. My wife had a small emergency, and I just had to go help her out, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no. I know I'm about to log back into the game and my rating is going to be in the gutter.
Yeah. I would say that if you're in it purely for rating, Solo Battlegrounds is the way to go. Okay. That being said, you can get to skill levels where it does matter. And there's even times where you're playing out of your mind in Battlegrounds, and because it's the fact that there's, you're playing with 20 other players, or maybe it's 15 other players, because I think it's 8v8, that no matter how well you play, you can't affect the outcome of the battleground. I don't like that part of it. There's certain classes that can really affect the outcome of the battleground too, more than others. But yeah, I would say that if you just queue battlegrounds, you could probably get up to, I would say, even 2400. As long as you know your class a little bit.
That's the funny thing, I think, with healing arena. Sorry, my brain is kind of all over the place right now as you're talking. There's just things you're saying, right? Because you mentioned to me you feel like you don't have any control sometimes in arenas, where again, when you have a team of 8 or whatever, right, that you're playing with, right? Even if you're doing the best you've ever played, if everyone else is just not bringing the game with them, it doesn't matter what you do. Whereas if you're in maybe a 3v3, you hold a lot more weight in that conversation, right? You have a lot more control over that conversation, which is probably why they're more forgiving a little bit, maybe in arena, or battleground rating. That might be the thought process. If I was to give Blizzard credit for having a thought process for that, it would probably be that. We're some Blizzard glazers here, so we got no problem shouting them out on things they do well. But I was thinking about it, because when I'm doing arenas as a healer, right? Because I do solo queue. they shuffle everybody around. Each round you play against like kind of like a different team almost because they're just shuffling everybody. But as a healer, the other healer is never on your team, right? Like they're never gonna put both healers together. And so when I'm doing arenas, the only question I ever have is like, am I doing better than the other healer? That's all I care about. Do I have more wins than the other healer? This is a 1v1 that has some participants in it.
It 100% is as a healer. Yeah, I'm a healer main in PvP, and so I get it exactly what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's been fun. I'm enjoying it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, we kind of brought up the mindset, I guess, of like, you can lose even though, nothing's being brought to the team. I would just caution if you're trying to get into PvP, it's going to be very easy to, blame your teammates and be like, I lost because of this, that, or the other. But especially in those solo queue modes, the most important thing is that you are accountable for your actions and you look at your gameplay and think, what could I have done better? Because kind of like you were saying with the healers and solo shuffle, like you can have people, especially at 1500, you're going to have DPS players just playing so badly, not using their defensives, not kicking CC or damage that's important, jumping behind a pillar and while you're stuck in CC and then whispering you when they die, shout out Santi, but all you can control is what can you do better. So yeah. But all that to say, like after you get into solo shuffle and battlegrounds, I think solo shuffle is a good practice realm. There's nothing that can really beat rated 3v3s. Rated 2v2s is a good intro to those and fun to have games with friends. But rated 3v3, I don't think will ever be any more popular than it is, and that's because of the popularity of solo shuffle. But in my mind, rated 3s, when you're playing with people you enjoy playing with, is one of the greatest PvP experiences in any game.
It's funny you say that because
I've ever played.
Yeah, because as a PvE player, we kind of have a similar experience. So I've heard this said from an employee at Blizzard. I don't know exactly what qualifications go into the statement, so I say it loosely because, again, I don't know what data they necessarily pulled to make the statement. But the most played game mode in World of Warcraft is LFR.
Interesting.
Yeah, so LFR is the most played game mode in WoW. And when you think about it, you're like, okay, that kind of maybe makes sense. I'm surprised like normal dungeons for leveling aren't more or something, but whatever. LFR supposedly, maybe it's the most played endgame content or something. I don't know. I don't know how they judge that, what the metric is. But it's fascinating to me because I would argue for anybody wanting to get into raiding that LFR is the worst raiding experience that you could possibly ever have in your life. Like there's nothing because there's no real goal in LFR. People are button mashing. Everybody's ignoring mechanics. Nobody's communicating. If something does go wrong, then they're just insulted. Like it's all the worst parts of raiding and none of the good parts of raiding, right? And it kind of sounds it sounds like there's a little bit, maybe not that extreme, but a little bit of that even with PvP, where you're like, it can be really enticing, and tell me if I'm right or wrong this, it can be really enticing to look at the solo queue and just be like, oh, that's easy, you can jump into it, I'm just gonna do it, and never really actually get to the part where like PvP's at its best, right? That 3v3, or even going in with like a full BGV team or whatever, or PvP battleground team, whatever the acronym for that would be.
Yeah, I don't know that I could ever argue that rated battlegrounds is actually a good experience, but there are people
I have no clue. I don't do them, so I can't say.
I actually used to really enjoy battlegrounds, but I don't touch them at all since I've gotten into rated PvP. I've tried doing some rated battleground blitz, but it's just not my thing really. But battlegrounds are interesting. Like I've enjoyed them in the past. I would say as a casual PvPer, they're probably a lot more enjoyable because you get those instances of I beat this other human in a game. You get that feeling, but for me it just doesn't do it like PvP does.
Listen, man, I think Blizzard peaked when they made Warsong Gulch and
that's true.
Whatever,
it's the best.
Yeah, dude, Warsong Gulch was just so good. It was just so good. And then I think the problem is they keep trying to make ones that feel awesome and feel cool, but like when you just do like the classic childhood like games of like capture points or capture the flag, like it's just so easy to like explain how the game works, that you can just go and go, okay,
Yeah.
I either get flag or I protect flag or I defend flag, right? Like you don't think too hard. But I find it interesting what you're saying, because I'm always trying to think through like, what is a new player going to do? Like instinctually, what is a new player going to do? And I can think back on when I started WoW and the experiences that I had, what seems enticing. And to me, it seems like Battlegrounds are a more enticing package to somebody who's looking, right? Like if somebody was shopping to PvP in WoW, Battlegrounds on the outside, I think, looks shinier and more fun, because it's like, oh, I know how to play capture the flag. I can go do that and PvP at the same time. That's better than me going into an arena with like 3 people and trying to win. But I think I agree with you, though, in my experience, that actually arena seems to be a more rewarding and enjoyable experience.
Yeah, I would. Again, it's just because you're playing with a couple of friends and you're getting better together and you're getting to go through that experience. When you say that Battleground seems like the more like just, maybe pretty package, I would agree completely. I think honestly, rated Battleground Blitz is probably like, so basically what they've done to every Battleground is made them quicker and just more fun. I think they're like, every change they made to Battleground Blitz would just make Battlegrounds better in general, even if you were queuing the unrated versions. I think I would enjoy Battlegrounds more if I could play, or Battleground Blitz specifically, if I could queue with, my threes partners. Right now with Battleground Blitz, you can queue 2 people as long as one of you is a healer and one of you is a DPS. And I think that's just to try to incentivize more healers to queue and keep queue times down. So that's also a great option. I think Battleground, I think you're actually right. I think Battlegrounds are probably the best case scenario for anyone trying to get into PvP, and probably most PvPers in general. I think it's just the most enjoyable experience. It's just not my most enjoyable experience. But I think the fact that you don't have to be necessarily the most skilled mechanically or in a 1v1 scenario, but you can play big objectives and win the game. That's the really cool part of Battlegrounds.
Yeah, and I think there's something fun where it's like there's a little bit more strategy than just simply outplaying the mechanical skill of another player, which I think, by the way, I'm not saying there's no strategy in that, but I think for somebody who isn't going, I want to like maximally learn my character's mechanics in PvP, Battlegrounds kind of make you feel like you're splitting that with another objective that isn't as complicated, right? Like, oh, I get to devise how to run a flag from one side to the other using my abilities, right? Like that feels like a softer ask than like, you got to learn how to completely outplay another player in an arena, which again, you're doing all the same things in a Battleground. It just sells itself a little better, I think.
Yeah, and the other cool thing about Battlegrounds is you get to use a lot more utility of your class in like a more macro way. Like, I played a little bit of like Hunter and Rogue, and like the fact that you can like take flags, by people not paying attention correctly, or like you actually get to use, everything in World of Warcraft Arena is setting up for a kill, and it's really cool that mages can use Ice Wall to like cut off half the team while you kill the other half of the team in Battleground or something like that.
Bro, the first time I saw that in PvP, I was like, yo, what the heck is this ability? What just happened?
Yeah, it's sick. But it allows you to utilize your class in a more honestly like fantasy driven way, because you're not just focused on killing people, you're focused on it feels more like World of Warcraft, if that makes sense. I don't know.
No, yeah, I completely get what you're saying, because you kind of step away from rotation matters. Let me just clarify. Like, I'm not saying rotation PvP doesn't matter, because I know somebody's going to leave a comment and be like, swag, rotation is everything in PvP. I get that. But at the same time, to me, again, as an outsider for the most part, looking at it, it seems like your rotation is important, but also your ability to observe what's happening and counterplay anything, right? Counterplay anything is deeply important. Whereas in PvE, as much as I love PvE, right, like you're sitting there before the fight starts in a raid, and your raid leader is explaining every mechanic of that fight and how to handle those mechanics. You can't do that in arena, right? You're not going to be like, okay, so this rogue is going to come in, and the first thing he's going to do is this, and then he's going to do this, and now you're stunned, but don't worry, you're gonna hold that stun and just deal with it for a second, and then we're gonna like I mean, you can kind of probably try to predict what they're doing, but you don't have a exact, and because teams are a little more random, right? Like you just never know.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because you say you can't do that in arenas, and there is like actually a really good amount of that, especially once you get. It's weird because like I heard this all the time, and I was like, it doesn't seem true, but like arena is scripted, but that it almost is, but it requires that you get to a skill rating where it becomes scripted. Both you have to like reach the arena rating where it becomes more scripted, and you have to become skilled enough yourself that it becomes scripted, because once you get there, then it's like, yes, I'm trading this defensive for this offensive, and this is how the opener is going to go 99% of the time. But it does require that you also are able to adapt to the different scenarios in the event. And when you're playing, below that level, arena is not scripted.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like sometimes I'll play alt games, and you just kind of get to for lack of a better word, play what you would consider badly at a higher rating, but still win, because that they're not going to trade the perfect cooldowns for your perfect cooldowns every time, where that is more the case at a higher rating.
Do you do any like Mythic Plus dungeons?
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm about 3,200 IO right now. I've done. I
missed that earlier. Sorry. Yeah, actually, you're doing much better than I'm doing. I'm still kind of pushing 3K. But I was joke that man, there's something to where like, and again, I love finding these parallels, because I want our listeners to know that like this is content that's actually way more relatable to them than they maybe realize that content is, right? And so in M Plus, there's this phenomenon that I'm sure you've observed, where you'll run like a plus 12, and it's tense. It's tight, like you're racing against the timer, but like it feels good and smooth, and you're all like playing, you're watching everything, and then you'll go help your buddy out in like a plus 6, and it is just the most chaotic experience you've ever had in your entire life. Nothing's going well. You're watching that timer just get drained, right? Just like you're like, dude, we're gonna be 10 minutes over. This is a plus 6. What's happening? Right? There's that thing, and it sounds like there's a similarity there, where as you go up in skill level, the game almost changes a little bit. Like it actually becomes a more engaging experience.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about being a healer in solo shuffle, and like that is so relatable in solo shuffle. It's not even funny, because there is this like hellhole, and it's between I mean, probably anything lower than like maybe 2,100, where like you just don't know the outcome of the arena because people don't use things correctly, and then you get to a certain rating where the DPS are using their defenses correctly and setting up kills, where like the games actually feel easier. And that's the same 100% the same thing in Mythic Plus. And it's like there's like this bell curve of where the keys feel good, and it's like you would think a 6 key would be easier, right? But no, like the it sounds elitist for me to say this, but like the players at that level aren't as good, so the keys don't go as well. And it's like there's a certain 3 or 4 key levels where like the players are good, and like honestly it's probably even higher. Like there's obviously a top limit where like the keys are just so hard, like even though you have the best players, they're gonna get bricked anyways. But like the higher keys you get, the thing is the players who are applying for those keys are most likely better. You're obviously going to run into exceptions, but the keys will go much smoother even as you get higher, just because people have better gear. Players have probably played more and more experienced.
I've got like a really good friend of mine, right, a real life friend of mine who also plays WoW, but he runs like plus 20s right now. And I know when he pops in and just helps me out on like a random key or something, I know he's looking at me and everyone else like, yo, what are these guys doing? Like, what is this? like what is happening? Right? Like, he's probably like, dude, actually, last time I had him in the key, he was in a voice call with like Growl and some others because I think they're in the same guild or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I just know right now this dude is sitting there like, yo, I'm in this group right now and no one's kicking anything, right? Like, he's probably sitting there like, dude, I don't even know if they're specced into their kicks. But but there is, and it's not like a, and I could hear you as you were trying to find the right words for it, right? Like, you were kind of like, oh, what's the right like language to use? But there is this improvement that occurs in M plus where you start to realize, oh, these things are dangerous, and I actually have the responsibility to handle them, right? Because in the plus two, you're kind of like, whatever, who cares? I'm ignoring everything, and everything kind of goes fine. But then there hits this point, right, in the 5 range where things actually start to hurt a little bit, right? And then, but then you kind of overcome each one of those challenges, right? You're like, oh, okay, now I know how to like interrupt the most important things. Okay, well, now I know how to use my interrupts even more liberally than just that, right? And now I know how to like actively avoid these things that are happening. Or as a tank, I know which packs to pull for what reasons, and which healers are best for which situations, and which DPS can help me out in certain instances and stuff like that. And those things almost become like a second nature. Like, you're just not thinking about them, right? And then you go into a lower level key, whatever your normal range is, you go into something lower, and you're just like, wait, nobody's doing any of this. No, like, right? Like, what is happening, right? And I'm guessing there's a lot of that to PvP where you don't have to start out as the expert. You kind of just, the more you do it, you just inherently kind of like pick up some of these elements.
Yeah, I'd agree. Dude, it's so hard to like talk about the PvP journey because it's like, I don't know what I didn't know at the certain levels, and I couldn't, like, I'd have to actually go back and watch my gameplay to see what I was doing wrong, which I can do since I started posting, stuff on YouTube at the end of Shadowlands. But it's you do learn along the way, but I would say, and it's probably the same for PvE as well, getting better players to help you out, look at your footage, look at your logs, whatever, and point out stuff that you're doing wrong is one of the most valuable things in World of Warcraft. And the thing is, there's actually communities for every class where people are willing to do that, for free, probably. There's definitely people who are willing to coach, for money. But every community that I've ever been in looking for help, you can usually find it.
Every guild has that one guy.
Not constant.
Yeah, every guild has that one guy that if you just ask him about PvP, you have made his whole week 10 times better. He finally gets to talk about the one part of the game that he loves that no one else in the guild wants to talk about. And he is ecstatic. Every guild's got one. I guarantee it.
Yep.
Guarantee it. And they're gonna take you from 0 to hero so fast.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what things are going to look like, because you were talking about like keys and like all of the responsibilities and stuff like that. But with the changes they're making in Midnight, it's gonna be interesting because there's not going to be as many kicks.
That's true.
It sounds like healers are kind of just going to be healing, which maybe takes less, because they're pruning a bunch of defensives. So
I'm excited.
It's gonna be a different game.
Yeah, I'm excited actually for the. It's funny because you talk to people and they're like, "Oh, they're oversimplifying the game." I'm like, I don't know, man. I think the game might have gotten a little too complex, because you start to look at like how trash packs have to be figured out, and the problem is like the things that they're removing are the same things people were complaining about. But now that Blizzard's touching it, they're like, "Wait, don't touch anything."
Hey, dude, that's the funniest thing, because I've seen people complaining about everything that they're touching for years, and now they're like up in arms.
It's like, there's too many
so
kicks.
Funny.
What do you mean you're taking away our kicks? It's like. And I don't think people are making the mental connection that like, hey, Blizzard's removing kicks from players because they want less kicks on the mobs. And I don't know if that connection has occurred yet, right? I think they're just thinking like, how's my group going to pull off our 5-kick rotation if our healer doesn't have a kick? And it's like, well, maybe you only need a 4-kick rotation now, like, right? Like maybe you're fine.
Well, and it sounds like that's not even going to be the case. Like, it's probably you just need one DPS that knows his kick button. But I don't know. Whenever these changes come out, so I play Preservation Evoker mainly in PvP, and they are like changing the way it's going to play drastically, which they're doing with a bunch of classes. And I hate the way it looks on paper, but I don't know what it's going to look like. And the thing is, they're going to be able to design the game around the changes they're making, and nobody knows what that looks like. People are looking at these changes as if they're going to have to run this season's dungeons and have the same class. Everyone else is going to be the same in PvP, and it's just not the case. Like everyone's getting pruned, and the content's going to be designed around the changes they're making. So I'm usually an optimist when it comes to changes. Like, I would prefer the game be make changes that are, I can't think of the word right now, but they're risky. But I would rather see something that's risky that pays off. And I don't mind if there are changes that don't end up working. I would rather that than go into Dragonflight season 10.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I totally agree with that, by the way, because like the game could just sit where it's at forever, and that's fine. But that's not the game that I love, right? The game I love is like always trying things out. I want it to feel different. I want an expansion to have a unique feel. And we've talked about on the podcast plenty, I think, recently, but just I'm genuinely an advocate for the add-on changes. I'm genuinely an advocate for the rotation changes and the talent changes. I like add-ons. I'm the first one in my guild to whip open weak ores and start putting something together when we get stuck on a boss, but at the same time, I work with so many players trying to get into the game, the experiences people have, and it's just like, okay, WoW's a little overcomplicated in many areas, and not in a fun way, right? There's a complexity to the WoW that's really fun, and then there's also a complexity to the WoW that's actually just kind of like almost a distraction and a big hindrance. And I think they're trying to say, okay, how do we allow for the same like growing curve that exists, right? This ability to get really good by just trying to juice out every potential you can from the game, while at the same time maybe making it a little bit softer, right? Like not quite as extreme. And so I'm excited. I'll miss my add-ons for sure. I don't think it's as doom and gloom as people are predicting to be. They've already said that the UI changes they're making will be customizable. You just can't have add-ons that are doing logic for you, right? But you can still recolor and reshape and reposition whatever you want. So I don't know. I'm generally optimistic. I hope somebody makes a weaker auras add-on though for outside of PvP or outside of combat, because I still like having my little trackers and stuff when I walk into zones.
Yeah, I'm personally ecstatic about the add-on changes. I would love a world where I log into the World of Warcraft and have 0 add-ons. And if that means that I don't get to do some of the cool things that I like, this is a hot take, but I would not mind it. I use add-ons because other players have add-ons, and I don't want to be at a disadvantage. There are plenty of quality of life add-ons that I use that I would hate to see go away, but like my ideal world is not needing third party, basically programs to play the game I want to play. So I'm all for it.
I would say
you. There's a lot of out of combat tracker stuff that I would like to see, but I like the direction we're going in.
I agree. I think every add-on except Zygor, our sponsor for this podcast, should be removed from the game. But by the way, Chicken, welcome back. I know I took a little long on maybe the more interview-esque portion of today's episode, but dude, one of the things we'll do, Erratic, is just kind of chat about whatever the junk we've been up to this week. And WoW, we find a lot of our conversations just kind of like naturally flow from that. We might get into WoW news, we might not. We're just having a fun conversation. I don't even know if there really is a lot of WoW news, right? We had Turbo Boost.
Yeah, not really.
Brawler skills on PTR. We got some midnight info, Twitch drops, which I think have been going on. But I'll say, I just want to know, kind of Chicken, dude. You've been silent for a minute, so as we kind of switch gears, dude, what have you been up to this week in WoW?
Oh man, not too much. I've been finding myself logging on like every single day for one reason for like 30 seconds.
Let me guess.
And it is to see if the one like storyline for the stupid delves is in rotation because I only need one more freaking storyline to do the Glory of the Delves quest or achievement. I'm literally this close to finishing all of Delves forever.
Chicken, you know how many dads listen to our podcast who are just gleefully excited that you have gone this hard in Delves?
Oh my gosh, dude.
Dude, we've got a lot of
as much.
Yeah,
we've ragged on Delves so much, so many times,
dude. But we have some
my
faithful
gosh.
listeners. We got some faithful fathers in the listening queue right now. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, who are just like, no, Swag. One day when you're a father, you'll understand that you only have short bursts of time you can sit down before you have to get up and pull a kid out of a tree or something. So gotta do Delves.
Because I love Delves. I've played the crap out of them the entire expansion.
There you go. Another opinion from a dad.
Dude, I mean,
yeah,
they're definitely good. I feel like I have a newfound appreciation for them going through them. And trying to get like the air quotes like lore master like achievement. I think it's called Glory of the Delvers or something.
Yeah.
But it's basically like the Delves lore master, if you will. I mean they're definitely fun. I feel like going through them on rank 1 is like a eye level. I don't even know what eye level I'm right now. Definitely over geared for a rank 1 and just
he's treating this like a Diablo.
Is like nuts. And I mean they're cool. I at the end of the day, I think Blizzard put a lot of thought into every single delve and every single story in a delve. And I mean, you got to appreciate that, right? Like when Blizzard comes out and they put a lot of time into something and they want people to enjoy it, right? I mean, that makes you feel good, right?
I've heard complaints for a long time about dungeons, especially Mythic Plus specifically, that it's just too fast, right? Even like if you run a normal or a heroic dungeon right now, people are just speedrunning them, right? Like nobody wants to take their time in that. You can just blast your way through it. And there is a large group of players that I think are really saddened by the fact that dungeons, whether because people just don't want to spend the time in them or because they literally have a timer on them for M+, become this like speedrunning activity every time you go into a dungeon. And there's a lot of players who they want to go in. They want to take their time. They want to experience the ambiance of the dungeon, the environment, the story of the dungeon. They want to be a part of it. They want to be in that, right? Like, they still want the MMORPG aspect of WoW, right? They want to go in and be a character in this world, right? And it's hard to feel that way when you walk into Tazavesh, the Veiled Market, and you're just blasting through there trying to pack everybody up, right? Like, because you have 30 minutes to get the whole thing done. And your group's going to die 15 times, so you have less than 30 minutes. But jokes aside, I think Delves have probably done a pretty good job and will continue to do a better job in the future as they innovate of maybe filling that hole that kind of has existed since dungeons became this like speedrunning activity of players that say, no, I just want to go in and experience some story and go through it. I would be very interested in seeing Delves over time kind of form maybe into more of like a dungeon-esque experience. Like, how do you get between a delve and an old school dungeon somewhere almost in the middle where like it kind of feels like you're on mission and not just like I'm in a cave, let's see what's in the cave today, right? But like more mission to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's funny because it seems like you guys treat delves completely differently than I do, because I've been running like 11 since like week 1 or 2 as an opportunity for more gear in my vault, and then they've added it to where like you can get gilded crests from your first couple delves a week or whatever. So that's what I've been doing, and I just like the achievements too, like the beetle that you can get from the Glory of the Delver. I did that, the first season and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the cool thing is that in WoW, there's just so many different ways to play the game.
That's one thing I'll always be just amazed by is like just all the different opportunity that exists.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I definitely run my 3 11s to get my Gilded Crest.
Yeah.
Like I definitely still do that, but after I do like so many of them, I'm just like, I'm just gonna run and get all the discovery chests on rank 1 so I can just like steamroll everything.
For sure, when you're just trying to get the achievements done, the ones make sense.
So that feels kind of good. I mean, I don't disagree. I think having some kind of game mode between Delves and Mythic Plus would be kind of neat. And I think we've talked about that at some point. I think it was like a listener question at one point.
Yeah.
And like whether that's like a time delve, but I feel like that kind of takes away the glory of the delve of being like, hey, I need to just stop, and I can do that because there's not like a timer or anything like that. I can literally just like sit in this corner where I know like there's literally no mobs or anything, no trash.
Yeah.
Or I guess it's not necessarily trash in it delves.
And what I was saying, Chicken, about the middle ground between the delve and the dungeon experience, I'm not even thinking necessarily for what would I personally love, but more so what would make delves a more world building, interesting like element. Where right now I think they were very safe with delves, where like the general delve stories aren't really doing a whole lot, right? Like you're kind of just
for like the storyline,
for the experience, right?
Not really.
You're kind of going in, killing some random things, maybe chatting with somebody, finding some gold, and like leaving. But but I do think though there would be, and honestly, I think they have potential too. Like imagine if like they made old content into delves even, right? Like, do you went to Shadowfang Keep? I will always bring up Shadowfang Keep, but like let's say you went to Shadowfang Keep, right? And that's a delve now, right? And you just kind of work your way through it. But like, what if they had a couple bosses with simple mechanics in there, right? Like, kind of stopping, kind of doing the boss. How do you give somebody that like that dungeon experience without necessarily turning it into like a speed running thing, allowing it to still be, I think, what makes delves so special.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to be honest.
Yeah, that was interesting.
But
I mean, yeah,
I think for the content between delves and dungeons, which kind of I feel like it kind of, you can do the highest level of delves and get the same vault rewards as I don't know what level of keys, but I think the prey system is looking pretty interesting. We'll have to see what it looks like once it's actually out.
I'm excited about that. Yeah,
potentially what you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking even just like I'm thinking more so how do you make the delve itself just feel more grandiose story wise, right? It's kind of the question I have, right? Like could you, I don't know. I think just the way they designed them for the War Within, I think was the right start. But I don't know if the right feel for delve is always just like you found a cave, go explore cave, right? But rather like I want something happening in that cave that feels very tied into like maybe an important story moment. Like I think they can allow lore beats to happen in delves actually. Like I think lore moments can happen in delves, and right now they've avoided that. But I think that could even be cool because I would want to do that. Then I'm like, oh, I want to go in and like experience the story moment. It creates a more full experience for those who already enjoy delves. Maybe I'm being picky. Maybe I'm asking too much. I know Blizzard's got enough on their plate, but if that was possible, that'd be cool to me.
I think we might see a little bit of that midnight. I don't know how like closely you're following all the updates and stuff like that, but it kind of sounds like that's sort of the direction they want to take.
I've been working on. I don't know if delves are on alpha. I haven't even tried to look at them.
I think some of them are.
I've been going through some of the dungeons on alpha. I just did the Windrunner Spire, and that one was really fun. I did that this week.
You have alpha?
Yeah. I got that insider help this time around. So
it does look they have the delves on the alpha. Like I pulled up like the alpha roadmap.
I should check one out.
They like there's like a Wowhead article because they're like leaking, not necessarily leaking the beta, but they're like pretty certain the beta is going to come out in like a couple weeks.
Nice, dude. I need my access code for beta. I have this thing. Well, I have the collector's. I ordered the collector's edition, which I'm excited to get, but I'm also really nervous that like sometimes with the collector's edition, they don't get that info out to you right away because it's supposed to come in the box. And so, especially with the PTR coming up, I don't want to have PTR come out with player housing, and I'm still waiting on my like midnight update code.
Oof.
Yeah.
You were talking about this a little bit before we got on the podcast, but you were talking about willingly dropping whatever amount of money on the expansion like immediately, and I'm like, dude, I will I will buy the Epic edition and the collector's edition, so I don't have to worry about that.
Oh
Yeah.
And just give away the code, dude. I'm ready to drop insane amounts of money.
I don't blame you.
Blizzard fan.
I don't blame you. I've been my wife's been playing a bit of WoW lately, which is great. I think she's really only leveling so then she can do player housing. I'm like 99% sure she just wants to do player housing.
I don't blame her though.
I don't blame her at all. And so part of me is like, oh, dude, maybe I just like upgrade my account and then give her the code when it comes in, which will be great because then she'll get a real nice like big fancy all the hoo-ha coming in.
True.
But at the same time, it also means that she'll look at me like, wait a second, why do you have access to player housing and I don't yet?
Wait a second, why'd you spend all this money on WoW?
Player housing is going to be like some insane new in-game content. I think there's going to be like straight up player housing content creaters, and oh my gosh, it's going to be insane.
Dude, did you see the guy who built a giant robot in his yard?
Yes.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't see
insane.
that.
And there's just gonna I mean like I hope they allow for some sort of hire a professional to come in and decorate your house with your collection, because I genuinely think like I am so bad at player housing, but I would absolutely like, there's so much gold to be made, and there will be gold made that way, or even IRL money made that way, where people are just so good at that aspect of the game that they make money, either in game or out by coming in and helping people decorate.
Honestly too, like YouTube channels, right? Like not whole home. The real sauce, right, is in DIY projects, right? So DIY house projects for Warcraft projects. But like, here's how you design a pub room, right? Like, here's how you design a Twitch streamer room for your player housing, right? And then they just give you the step by step of here's how I designed this room and made this with like accessible parts, right? Like here's easy to get parts to make this space, right? And then you just go watch the video, put all this stuff where it goes, right? And then somebody from your guild walks in, they're like, "Wow, this room's awesome! You did such a cool job."
Well, and like I think Max said this on one of his streams, but he's like, there's going to be people like who have like MTV Cribs type episodes and like makeover type episodes, and there was one that I was thinking about where it's like, I mean, you just have people come in and design your house. Like there's so much content, like more content than I think the actual game when it comes to player housing.
I mean, the moment you allow something to be a kind of a sandbox activity, it just like goes off the rails with content. I mean, we were talking before, but I blew up originally on TikTok with like Minecraft content, right? And that was just so popular because literally the sky was the limit. And I see a lot of the same happening with player housing, which is going to bring some very fresh eyes to the game, I think.
Yeah, when you get to like be creative, like there hasn't been that much opportunity in WoW to just straight up be creative. I mean, you have like transmogs, and that's like it. That's very basic. This is like infinite levels of creativity. Yeah. It's gonna go hard, I think.
Absolutely. I think it's gonna be sick. Did you try it out on the PTR?
I did hop on PTR for like maybe an hour. There was a lot of like you had to go buy the stuff, and I was I don't know that they added in like everything you'd be able to get from your collections and stuff like that. So I'm very interested to see what I get when I log in on day one. Just from like the achievements and stuff that I have. I think collecting. There's some parts of it I don't like. Like I think having to buy or collect multiple of the same thing to place it multiple times is going to be weird.
Yeah, I get why they're doing that.
That is weird.
So to me, it seems like the reason why they're doing it is so that you're not just like spamming a bunch of like the same thing, right? You're not just in there like, oh, I have infinite of these. Let me just place 300 of them and call it a day,
like
right?
Something rare or something.
Yeah, but again, if somebody wants to do that, I guess just let them do it. I suspect what we'll see is like in 4 or 5 years, they're going to take out that limit.
Yeah, I can see that.
And they'll just have certain
I'm also
items
hoping
marked.
I get really cool rewards for being good at PvP.
Oh yeah, dude.
that's
They
true.
released some of them. I think they're going to let you have like alliance flags and horde flags and banners and stuff like that, and even like capture points from battlegrounds. But I'm interested to see what else we get. I love watching. Are you guys familiar with Peekaboo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't see the stables for the gladiator mounts out front. Where's that? I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was doing a little alpha exploring. I totally forgot till we were talking about the flags. Have you guys seen what's the Arcantina?
No.
I have heard of it, and it seems really cool. I love lore. I don't think WoW ever does a good job of putting it in World of Warcraft.
Oh, terrible job.
I haven't seen an instance of it yet. Like, I think the lore walking thing that they added a couple patches ago is just absolute trash.
I agree. I know people love it. I just don't think it's a great way to. And by that point, the only people doing it are the people who want to already know lore, right? Like,
yeah,
you're not helping the like. Chicken, for example, knows no lore, so he got into WoW in Shadowlands.
Not at all.
I've been playing since like tail end of Classic, right? Vanilla, and so it's hard. Chicken's like, I don't know, man. It's too late for me. I just want to go kill things.
Dude, there's a ton of lore, dude.
There's a ton of lore. Yeah.
I know, but there's so much, bro. It's so good. I've been reading through War Crimes lately because I've never really read the books, and I usually know their stories super well. I've just never read them, and man, that's a really good one.
War Crimes, yeah. I think the Sylvanas book actually does so much for Sylvanas and is such a good, like, but that's out of game.
Out of the game.
But such a good story, too.
So anyways, the Arcantina,
again.
The Arcantina is kind of sick. I don't even fully understand what they're going to use it for. I think it's supposed to be like a hub with like rotating quests coming in and out from players that are like well known and loved, and so I don't know exactly. I don't know if it's like just for you, like only you can go into your Arcantina, or if like you'll see other players there, maybe guildmates. I don't exactly understand. I just happened to stumble across it by accident when I was like walking around the alpha. One, it's beautiful. It is like absolutely gorgeous. Two, I think the idea of like quests that take you to like old world content and like experiencing different things is really helpful for the game. Three. Sure. And this is super out there. This is super random, but I want both of your opinions on this. This is such a random thing, and then we'll get to our listener questions because we got a handful today. But when I was looking at the Arcantina and I saw like just some table setup. Obviously, it's a very lively feeling room, and I was just thinking to myself like, man, how cool would it be if Blizzard added into the game the ability to play Hearthstone within World of Warcraft, like just like the basic, right? Like just the because I don't listen. I think Hearthstone is cool. I just never want to open up the actual Hearthstone game, right? Like, let me sit with my character at the table with my friend, his character at the table, and we just do like a quick round. If it could pull like info from your Battle.net account so it knows what cards you have in like your deck or something, and you just sit down and go, right? Like, to me, that kind of like, I don't know. I feel maybe that'd be hard for them to pull off, maybe not. But I just feel like anytime they add like these like little mini games that like you can play with someone else into the game, it just seems like a win.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we'll ever see it, but it's an amazing concept.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know. The Arcantina made me think of it because I'm just sitting there looking at this space. I'm like, this. It just looked like somewhere you would expect somebody to sit and play Hearthstone.
Well, I think it was. I remember hearing them talk about it in a dev interview. It was it was created like 4 or 5 expansions ago. It just has been in the game files and not been used.
Yeah, I think there was it was like BFA. However, when you look at it, it does not look like it was created in BFA. I think they started it in BFA, but like what they're doing now, there's certain like lighting effects and stuff and you'll see it heavily in Silvermoon that just are beautiful, just absolutely gorgeous. And the Arcantina is no exception. It is a gorgeous looking space, and it feels very midnight in terms of like their skill in designing. So I think maybe they had started it, and then they've definitely overhauled it, which has been really cool.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyways, super random. Before we get into our listener questions, though, just a couple quick things for our listeners to be aware of. We kind of joked about it, but we do want to give a thank you to Zygor for helping support our podcast. If you are looking for an add-on to help you track gold making, questing, whatever you want to improve at, Zygor has the guys to help you out. There's a link in the description if you want to check out Zygor that supports the podcast, as well as you can use code SWAGLOCK for 20% off. We also want to mention our Patreon. So if you're one of our Patreon supporters, you gain early access to our episodes. We try to post them as soon as we're done recording them. You gain extra bonus content during the week. We even do live recordings of the podcast in our Patreon live channel. However, today we're actually doing a live episode on Erradic's Twitch channel, so make sure you check him out as well. But the link to our Patreon is down below in the description. If you guys are looking for a guild, I know I'm kind of blasting through these, but there's just so much we want to talk about in so little time today. If you're looking for a guild, though, a guild that's non-toxic, a guild that you could just build friendships in it and get to know people and try out different forms of content, try out M+, try out raiding, even try PvP. We want to invite you to our guild, Astra. Astra is not necessarily a guild for the podcast. It is a guild that Chicken and I are a part of, and we deeply, dearly love. And so if you're looking for a guild, come join our podcast Discord. And while you're in there, we have representatives from Astra who can help get you into the guild or answer any questions you have if you have questions. Lastly, final thing before we get to our listener questions, we want to give a big thank you to ErradicGaming for being here today recording with us. If you want to check out more of his content, he is on Twitch, he's on TikTok, probably on YouTube. I've never checked, but I'm guessing you're on YouTube. Is that correct, Erratic?
That is correct.
And where else can they find you?
Those are the big three for sure. Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube.
Perfect. We'll have
mostly.
all those links in the description as well. So we want to encourage you to check out and support him as a big thank you for being on the podcast this week. So with that said, we're diving into some questions that we've gotten from listeners this week. If you want to leave your questions for the podcast, you can do so by going to our Discord and going to the Pod Questions channel. We do prioritize our Patreon questions first. And so with that said, we have a question in from Rack, and he says, remix question. And by the way, Erratic, feel free to chime in on any of these that you're interested in answering.
Yep.
He says, if I queue my maxed out remix druid as a healer into a heroic dungeon for the short queue time, but then proceed to destroy the dungeon in my tank spec to get it done quickly, should I be vote kicked out of the dungeon? Did I remix wrong? I actually love this question. I have some thoughts from this week and some runs I did, but Erratic, Chicken, either of you guys got some input?
No, you're not wrong. Next question.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. There's nothing wrong with getting quick queue times and then carrying a dungeon.
That's. I mean, in my opinion, I don't know, Erratic, how much remix you've played, and Swag, I don't think you've played you've played a decent amount of remix, but I mean, that's just what remix is. I mean, just going in and having a good time. I mean, most people don't tend to care about remix as much as they would retail. I mean, obviously there's a point to care, obviously you're sinking hours and hours into a game, so you care a little bit, but I mean, people just go in and have fun and just do whatever they want for the most part. I mean, like, you get into a mythic Nighthold raid and one guy's doing 100 million damage, and the next closest guy to him is doing like 5 million damage, and one person is literally carrying the entire raid through mythic Nighthold, and you're just like, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. I mean, that's just kind of how remix is.
Totally makes sense. Erratic, are you in agreement on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've played quite a bit of remix, and I was going super hard on it. I think I'm a little bit less so now, but it's all about just blasting through stuff and feeling overpowered. Like, nobody's going there to have a 30-minute true dungeon. Like, that's not what remix is for. It's there to get your power levels up, get the transmogs, and have a fun time doing it. So absolutely. So here I've been doing some remix this week, and I actually had some encounters that made me think twice about this question. So in general, I'm in agreement with what you guys said, right? So in general, I'm in agreement. However, I do want to acknowledge, I think there are some people in WoW who are very just like, no, this is how WoW's played. This is what you have to do. Like,
But remix, I would say there's generally very few rules when it comes to remix. It's a short-term, limited time game mode. You're just blasting. You're just doing like it's okay for remix to be kind of silly. Like when things are broken in remix and people are running 5-man tank groups, who cares? Who cares, right? Like whatever, right? Like it's go collect your mounts, right? Like if you want a competition, go back to like normal retail, right? Like if you want true competition. With that said, though, I was doing some. I've been leveling a healer in remix this week. Kind of slow because I'm only hopping on for like an hour here and there. But I've noticed a few things. One, there are times I've queued into now my healer's not blasting, right? And so here's where the crux of your question kind of comes in. If you're switching to like a tank spec and you're actually like just running in and demolishing everything so freaking fast, like I'm talking like 10-second boss battles, like max, right? Yeah, there's no reason somebody should be kicking you. If the group's kicking you, it's because they're stubborn on how the game should be played. But at the same time, if you're not blasting, you actually can like do harm to the group. So you have to like actually know like, am I genuinely doing the thing I say I'm doing, or am I just not wanting to play the healer role, right? So, like, as I've been leveling my healer, there have been times where, like, we'll start the dungeon, I'm like, yo, this group doesn't need me to heal. And I'll just quickly switch to Ret and just, like, follow along and punch things and maybe throw a wog here and there if I have to, but whatever, right? There's other times I hop into a group and I'm like, okay, well, I know if I go Ret or Prot, I'm not blasting. So I kind of do need to heal because this group's not moving very fast, and so people will die. But I had an experience this week that I went into a group and the tank refused to, it was a Demon Hunter tank, refused to play Vengeance. They were just in Havoc, and we were just like wiping non-stop because we didn't have like a pumper in the group, so nobody was like hard pumping. This tank didn't want to go to tank spec. He wasn't pumping, and they were just big pulling. But then what would happen is we pull big, I try to heal somebody, and then I'm getting punched by 30 people, and I'm like, yo, this sucks. Like, so I actually initiated a vote kick, and everybody ended up voting the guy out. And then we got a tank in who was pumping, and we just sped ran the dungeon. I swapped to Ret, and we just blasted. That was an awkward experience. So I would say like Legion, like you gotta know what you're actually capable of. And if you're genuinely helping the group, like if you're making abnormal choices, but those abnormal choices are helping the group, dude, if somebody gets upset, that's on them, man. That's on them because you're genuinely being helpful. But if you're like just refusing to heal because you don't want to heal, but now people are dying every time you go into a fight, but you don't want to heal, like that's different. Like, right, you just have to read the room. But if you're like absolutely blasting, so I made the question more complex than it probably needed to be. I just wanted to share that experience this week of like this tank that just would not tank no matter what. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, dang it, I should have gone ahead and gotten the like Legion prot paladin gear so I could just quickly swap and take over, but all I had was a two-hander.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that specific scenario, but that is 100% correct. That is the one situation where that's not acceptable. Like, you better be carrying the group if you're switching specs and not playing what you said you were playing.
Absolutely. So very hyper specific. I think most people who are doing it know what they're doing, and it's beneficial to the group. But every once in a while, too, somebody's just got to stick up their butt because that's not how you play WoW, and they've been playing WoW since Classic and whatever. My favorite M+ comps though are no healer comps, as even though I'm healing right now. I just think it's fun running in with five paladins, 1 prot, 4 ret, and just see where you go, right? But let's continue on. We got a question coming in from Nat's Mortuary. Is that a sponsorship? I can't tell. Anyways, question coming in. So I've been listening to the old podcast, and you were talking about players doing delves, then going M+, and not knowing the dungeons. How would you feel if they made it to where you can't do an M+ dungeon unless you have completed the M0 first? So I think really the core of this question, I'll let you guys answer, but I think the core of the question ultimately is like, what kind of bridges that gap? And just so you know, Erratic, what we've talked about in the past is players who have like juiced up their gear on plus 11, or like 11 like delves, right? Like delve. What do you call that? 11s, delve 11s,
tier 11,
tier 11, yeah, tier 11 delves. And so they're juiced up on gear, so they don't want to go into a +2. because they're saying, well, +2 is not going to offer me any gear I can use. I want to like start at like a higher level, like an 8, 10, whatever, right? But they're trying to push into these delves that they just don't, or into these dungeons that they just aren't experienced in at all. It's something I think we experienced a lot more in the early seasons of the War Within. I don't know if it's something I've seen this season. I can't, it doesn't feel like I've seen it. It felt like I saw it season 1 a lot. So I guess the heart of the question is like, what's the best way to help transition somebody from delves to dungeons?
So I get what they're saying. I've been one of those problem people going into high level keys that I probably should not be in because I have the gear for it, and I also feel like I have like somewhat of the skill or just general knowledge of WoW that I feel like I should be okay, but then I do end up wiping the group or whatever because I'm not doing a mechanic that I should be doing. That's a hard question because I'm probably not the correct person to ask because I'm always down to like try to challenge myself, but when it comes at the cost of other people's enjoyment of the game, I think it's wrong. So I mean, really, the answer is they probably need to do lower level dungeons, maybe not as high as they want, but they shouldn't have to do 2s. But yeah, maybe you shouldn't be hopping in 12s on week 2 just because you have the eye level if you don't actually know the mechanics.
Yeah, that is a tricky spot to be in, and I think too, even like PvP as we talked about. I was just gonna say
I don't think they should be expected to go do all their 2s, all their 3s, all their 4s kind of thing too either, because that's super
tedious,
toxic.
Right? But how do you at least make sure that they get the feel of like this is what a dungeon is like, right? Because like let's say next season I just did not have time to do dungeons and all I could do was delves, right? When I did finally have time to do dungeons, I know how dungeons work. It'll take me a minute to like get comfortable with that rotation of dungeons, but I know the general norms of like, I know how to rotate my kicks. I know how to like watch out for this, watch out for that, right? Like how the pull groups, right? Like I know those, and so it's an easy transition back in. But there's that question of like the person who's like, no, I just want to keep gearing. I've never really done dungeons. And you are right. Start low and push up. Sometimes just pushing your own key up, right, is a great way to kind of start feeling that out.
That's actually a great point, is like not doing it in other people's keys. You're still wasting people's time if you're, failing at 12 or whatever. Halfway through because you don't know the mechanics, but at least you're not bricking someone else's key. That's a good answer.
Yeah, the real answer is come to our guild's Sunday Keys event on Sundays, and we'll coach you. We'll coach you through M+. Easy jobs. Chicken, any thoughts before we move on to the next question?
Yeah, I mean, that one's kind of hard. I mean, it's always gonna, tick off the 1%. I definitely don't want to do like a Mythic 0. But it also like hurts the people that just don't have a lot of time to play, right?
Yeah, that's true too, yeah.
But there's like obviously that issue. Like there's a clear issue. So how do they find an in-between? Yeah, I'm just not really certain.
Yeah, the hard thing too is M0 doesn't even really teach all those mechanics, right? Because most of them you can just kind of ignore. Really. Yeah,
especially like I know the Zalataf mechanics aren't like anything crazy, let's be honest, but they do have some. I mean, for someone that's never done them, there's something at least, right?
Right. Yeah, and just things become more dangerous, right? In general.
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, maybe you do one. I might be okay with doing like one of them, but not like all of them. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. All right, so next question we have coming in from Tiger Ace Ray. He said, if you could come up with one expansion or a whole set of expansions like an arc, as we're doing for, the World Soul Saga, where would you take the Warcraft universe? Chicken, I know you love lore questions. This is the one you're probably most thrilled about.
But if I was thinking about this.
He wants us to go back to Shadowlands. I'm calling it now.
No, actually, I don't want to go back to Shadowlands. I'd really like us to go to like Azeroth or something. I think that'd be kind of cool. was that bad of an answer? Like,
dude, we're on Azeroth, bro. That's where we're at right
that's
now.
like that's supposed to be the bit. Like that's the bit.
Okay,
like, yeah,
I thought so.
I get it. We're already there. Like I have no idea where else we would go. Like because like I don't want to say something stupid and then be like, oh, like we've already been there like 1,000 million times. Like or like, oh, like hey, we should go back to Dollarin, and everyone's like, no, you're a nerd. Like we're not gonna do that. I'm like, okay,
Dude,
yeah, sure.
Dollarin's blown up, bro.
So anywhere on Azeroth, I feel like is probably pretty cool.
My pick is actually, I want us to go. Dollarin gets rebuilt. This is 10 years in the future. Dollarin's rebuilt, but it's so big now, it's actually 4 zones worth of content. And the whole expansion just takes place inside Dollarin. But floating over top of the new Dollarin, the Bronze Dragons actually brought an old Dollarin from the past. Like medium old Dollarin, not old Dollarin, not the one that the Legion destroyed. Right, the one that Xalatath destroyed. That one's back now, floating over top of the new Dollarin zone, and so it's just a Dollarin hub inside a Dollarin expansion. It's Dollarin on Dollarin. I think that would be peak WoW content. To be honest, we're talking like throwbacks to Wrath, throwbacks to Legion. If I actually had to pick content that I'd want, it's a boring answer. And it's a big ask of Blizzard, so I don't think we'll ever see it because I think it actually probably is asking a little too much. But I would love to just see an expansion that's a complete overhaul of like the original world. Eastern Kingdoms, Kalimdor, a whole rebuilt leveling system. I would love to see that. I think that's a little bit too much of an ask. So if I had to like kind of trim that down a little bit or something. I'd love to see another expansion that's, and I know this is not a hot take, maybe built again around tension between the Horde and the Alliance, but like healthy tension, not like, Sylvanas just wants to kill people tension, but like, resources are limited, things are happening, there's like real tension that's occurring, natural tension that like forces the Horde and the Alliance into like a battle that feels meaningful. I like those tensions when they exist. I think that's fun. But that would probably be what I would think through with an expansion.
If I could choose anything, I would love to actually completely experience the War of the Ancients in World of Warcraft.
That would be sick.
If I know we've had like a raid or whatever that kind of does that,
but not even a good one.
Yeah, not a good one. The War of the Ancients trilogy is the book I've read, or one of the books I've read on WoW lore, and I just think it's like one of the best stories. I think the Stormrage brothers and the Windrunner sisters are like peak lore in World of Warcraft, like over Arthas, over anything. Like I don't think they'll ever get rid of these characters because I think they're so important to the Warcraft lore. So that, or going like being in the elves society as Arthas attacks, and it wouldn't work with World of Warcraft right now. I think it'd be weird to have like just a time travel expansion where you go do that, but maybe an expansion that's like all about infinites, and you go through and like each of the 3 patches is experiencing one of these things in the past as they happen in a very real way. I think that could be really cool.
Honestly, dude, I'd be happy even if they just brought back the old dungeons that we used to have, the Bronze Dragon dungeons. You know what I'm talking about? The ones where you had to literally go to like Kalimdor to go into their like time cave. Why am I blanking?
Oh yeah.
Why am I like?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Caverns
of Time.
Yeah, Caverns of Time. That's it, right? Like when you do like Stratholme and stuff like that. I would love to even see them kind of revamp that and start bringing those back, right? I know it's not as big scale as like an expansion, but even that, like if we had a couple that were coming out with expansions. Those would be also great ways to like reteach lore to new players, to be like, hey, here's a hot moment. You have to now, because now they have the new zone design for Silvermoon, right? Theoretically, they could kind of repurpose a lot of that for a dungeon that was like going back in time and like fighting off Arthas as they like march their way through. Or like you're running alongside Sylvanas while she's trying to like defend Silvermoon or something.
Yeah. I feel like those dungeons never do justice to the story that they're trying to tell. I feel like it requires a bigger
it does. There's so much more
playfield, but I always enjoy the Caverns of Time dungeons as well, so I wouldn't be opposed to it either.
Yeah, but they're good. I think they're good for certain story beat moments, like getting to like see Thrall break out of the internment camps and stuff like that. Like if you can have these like story beat moments that people are like, oh, I didn't know that was like an element of that character. Especially when they're like, a lot of them don't like, you can kind of just use spaces that already exist. I don't know. Anyways, I'm overthinking this now. We got time for one more question, and then we'll wrap up. So, final question. We have a question from D-Trax that we're gonna save for next week. So, just know we saw your question. We're just out of time. So, Dad Mode Plays has a question. And so they were reaching out because Chicken and I talk a lot about Death Knights, right? And that's kind of the class we play the most. I normally play Blood DK. I'm playing a Resto Shaman this season, though. And so he said, you guys talk a lot about Death Knights. I have a level 18 and wanted to see if there was a guide to this class available. Thank you. So, I'm going to be honest. A lot of the times, I just go to, like, Wowhead and do a quick read. Pull some talents, do a quick read. But what I have found to be the most helpful when it comes to at least PvE content, and I'll let you, Erratic, talk maybe a little bit to how you figure out PvP stuff. But I've found that actually going to YouTube and finding people who are just exceptional at the class they play, making content about those classes, has taught me so much. Like, that's been super helpful, just watching videos of people talking. And I don't know what it is. I like the guides that exist on like Icy Veins and Wowhead and stuff. But for some reason, I feel like I get more authentic advice and information from video content. And not because it's video form, but it just feels like that's the form that a lot of these people are more comfortable making their guides in, rather than in like a blog article or a Wowhead post. Although I will also say I don't have any names off the top of my head this year. I'm hoping maybe Chicken does. I just kind of Google around or I YouTube around until I find one I like.
Yeah, I definitely have like one or two. One that I personally like. He only plays DPS, but let's be honest, Blood's easy. You don't have to watch videos on how to
There's like
play
4
Blood.
buttons. Yeah.
His name is Bicep, like the muscle in your arm. Bicep Pumps, all one word. He's pretty good. He used to actually do the Wowhead and Icy Veins stuff, but I don't know what happened with that. I guess something happened and he just doesn't do it anymore.
You got too good for them.
But he always has really good builds for both of the DPS specs for Death Knight. So yeah, he's one to check out, and he does pretty regular content, especially when it comes to like alpha builds for Midnight and just general like good builds for raid and mythic, like high end raid and mythic raiding. I don't know how great it will be for a level 18, but he's pretty in depth about talking about rotations and stuff. So he's a definitely good one. Bicep Pumps.
Yeah, Bicep Pumps, nice. Erratic, if somebody was trying to learn a little bit in the PvP world, what are like resources that you guys, whether it's for DKs or just in general, what are resources that you guys find really helpful?
Yeah, I think you kind of already said it, but I think finding video guides from creators who play that class as their main spec is pretty much always the way to go in PvP or PvE. I've used it to get better at DH. Joining the class Discord for your class is super important too. I especially with preservation of Evokers and PvP, like we have the most insane PvP Discord out there. I genuinely don't think it can be beat by any other,
Hey, question for you.
Just person-led
Question.
Discord.
I play Ret Paladin.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have a PvP or do they have a Discord for Ret Paladins?
Every single class has an official WoW Discord. I don't know when I say official, I don't know how official, but if you look up like Wowhead class discords or just class discords, you'll Google it. Like everyone has one based on their theme. Like
I was making a joke because the Reds shut theirs down when they were upset about some nerfs or something.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, every class has one. But yeah, I think for PvE or PvE, like for sure, just look up someone who plays the class and makes video guides, because I do like being able to read the guides too. I think the written guides on like Wowhead and stuff like that are really good, especially when you're like trying to figure out your specific damage opener or whatever. But video guides, hopefully you have someone who's really good at making video guides, because there's definitely levels to that as well. But yeah.
Dude, that reminds me. I need to join some class discords. For whatever reason, I've kind of avoided them up to this point. I'm in like 50 different discords, so I don't know why I haven't joined those ones. I've just never. Every time I think about it, I'm like, I'll do that another time. But man, there's got to be great information there, and the fact that you can like actively engage in the conversation, right, allows you to maybe ask more pointed questions. I'll also say the last note I have, and this is, I would not say to do this from the start because I think it will feel overwhelming, and like too much. But once you really start to feel comfortable in your class, and you're reading up on how to play it, you're feeling solid. I find that a lot of times, like finding a Twitch streamer or any streamer, whatever platform you prefer, who is exceptional at the spec that you want to play, and just watching them play it. Like watching how they do it, and they're gonna do things that you're not gonna necessarily talk about in the class Discord, or not necessarily, read up on Wowhead, because they're learning how to like juice every little bit out of that class, and how to like do some funky things in dungeons and whatnot that may surprise you. So I found a lot of help there, even of just finding people who are like top notch at that, and just kind of watching them play, not watching them explain it, but just watching them play it.
I think that's actually a great tip, because like you want to have a basic understanding of the class before you do that. But most people are streaming because they want to like build a community, and usually, and especially in WoW, they enjoy talking to people about their class or what they enjoy playing. So it's not even just watching them. A lot of times you should be able to engage with them and discuss what issues you're having maybe, and hopefully get some help. It might be hard, like the bigger they are, the probably harder it is to get pointed help. But WoW isn't a subsection that breeds huge streamers. So I think most of the time you can find help in Twitch chat after you have a basic understanding too. Absolutely. Well, with that answered, I just want to say, Erratic, thank you so much for joining us this week. This was a fun episode to record. Been a watcher, viewer, fan of your content for a while now, so I was glad to be able to get you on here with us today. So thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Chicken. Thank you that you showed up too. I know.
Okay, I guess you're welcome.
All right, but thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for everybody who is listening today. We appreciate your support. We appreciate that you choose to turn on the Warband every single week. It just means the world to us. If you want to engage in conversation, chat with us, ask questions for the podcast, just find other people who love World of Warcraft and you want to do dungeons or whatever with them, check out our Discord down in the description. There will be a link. And thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.